joined here by Chippenham manager Mike Cook at Swerton Park. Mike, last game against Hungerford we were talking about potentially coming down here and doing the business and getting a little bit of revenge on Bath. Unfortunately today we've gone down to sort of a standard 2-0 victory really. It was a bit of a strange game. Talk us through your big points, mate.
Yeah, I just think we were fine. Everybody was sticking to the game plan. Got up to that sort of 44th minute. The scuffle happened with Alfie coming into their right back and heading him in on the back of the head. It was an accidental challenge. He wasn't going to do that. Then we just lost our heads for sort of 2 or 3 important minutes, switching off, and we said in the change rooms at half time, if you score one before half time's bad enough, but you just get that second goal, it's an absolute killer for me. So there was a few words said to a few people that needed to be said, but in saying that, we were a little bit better, I thought, second half with snuffing out of danger from Fletcher, who's getting in down that right hand side behind Ethan all the time. Like we said, he's a young lad, he's learning the game, it's tough for him. 2,000 people here today watching, and it's a good little lesson for him today, because I thought he was a lot better second half as well. So I'm pleased for him in that respect. But with Will Henry, Will Richards, they've been fantastic for us this year, and then to make a couple of mistakes like they've done there at the dead, as the coach you can't legislate for that. It's nothing that you can do in training. I think the ball's got to get cleared early by Will Richards, and then obviously we've got to have better hands from Will as well. And if that doesn't go in, we're 0-0. I think they've had a couple of chances first half, we've had a couple. They've not even had one shot on target, I don't think, second half. So if you looked at the game overall, you'd probably say it's got 0-0 written on all over it if we hadn't made those couple of stupid mistakes.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, we saw kind of already in our own execution in sort of this month, we've had a very good month with a couple of very positive results, and I think we were talking behind the goal there that it was sort of reminiscent of the Dorking game, but in a bit of the reversal. I mean, a little bit of a costly slip, end of the half, the goal goes in, and we think, right, okay, shut up shop, get to the half, 1-0 down, and then, like you say, the scuffle down there didn't help. Added 6 minutes onto the referee's watch, and inside that 6 minutes they've managed to punish us again. But it sort of turns around to sort of swings and roundabouts. When we went 4-1 up against, 3-1 up against Dorking at half time, they absolutely annihilated our second half in terms of chances, but that 2 goals was massively important, and it looks like it's happened again today really. As soon as Bath were at that 2-0 stride, there was very, very little that we could seem to do to stop them from chucking everything they could behind the block and hitting on the counter. I mean, second half, I don't even think they were in the game. No, we had a lot of possession, and we just didn't open them up enough, and we've got a young team up front as well, especially when you chuck Olon and Raz as well, which we were keen to give them some minutes. But if you've got Danny Greenslade playing, if you've got Alex Bray playing, it's a different team, that back four. That I don't think that's going to happen. Those 2 mistakes towards the half time. So we've got Danny Griffiths to come back in after suspension next week as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he's got on with his fitness as well. But we've just got to be better, than those last 2 minutes, because really that's what the game hinged on, those 2.5 minutes. And obviously we don't like to come out here and state the obvious and make sort of claims that we were hard done by in any way. We always tend to give credit to the opposition when they do get the result, and credit goes to Bath, of course, today. Second time in as many weeks that they've turned us over and given quite a comfortable performance. But games hinge on big moments, Mike, and going down there towards the second half as we were sort of pressing for a way back into the game, Harry Parsons back to goal. He's rolled his defender, his standing legs come out from beneath him, and the referee's decided that there's no further punishment necessary. It looked from our angle like a stonewall penalty. You guys aren't a million miles away from the dugout here. You can see that was a challenge that needed to be made by the defender. Do you think it was right, wrong?
I thought it was a penalty all day. I don't think he had a bad game in general. I thought he was fairly decent, but he just missed out on a couple of things for us, which would have helped us to maybe get back into the game. But like I said to the lads in the changing room now, I think we huffed and puffed a little bit today and didn't really create a lot what we'd created at Hungerford the other night. We had the bit between our teeth, and it was it was nice to see that plan work, and this plan was working for us today up until that sort of half-time period, and that's what's particularly gutting for everybody, because it's a long old way back, sitting in that dressing room 2-0 down, we've just conceded. So yeah, we'll be all right. We haven't got to lose sight of that. We've had a good run up to this sort of period. and we've played really well, some really good stuff, I think. And if we can get 3 points against Slough next week, then hopefully this one doesn't hurt so much and keeps us in that sort of top 10 slot with a bit of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you look at the game today, it was one of those that I think for the majority of people in attendance could probably agree that the chances that we did have, and they were there, they were almost looked as if it was almost divine right for Bath, to win in these fixtures when they're getting that last little toe on things, the odd decision not going your way, and the way they were defending today, Bath, it was almost reminiscent of the way that sort of teams that we've had to defend against in the sort of the last sort of 6 months of the season, wherein that we've had to put bodies on the line, get that last ditch flick, that last toe that just sort of takes it away from danger. And although it's not an art form, Bath really did do it very well today, and a little bit of luck in the first half from Callum. He's had a shot tipped over by a toe. We've had a couple of chances down at the far end there, goalmouth scramble. Other days, we're taking goals from this game. It wasn't all doom and gloom from the derby.
No, it wasn't. And the thing is, if we're going to lose, we're going to go down fighting as well. I thought we kept fighting. We kept our shape a little bit better than what we did in the home game. Chucked on the 3 young lads as well, which I think made a bit of a difference. Went to 4-3-3 and had a little bit of a go at it. We just thought, we didn't want to lose 5 or 6 or anything like that. But I just think if we're going to lose 2, we've got to have a right old go, which is what we did do. Change things around and had a lot of possession. Again, the stats are fairly good for us, but the only stat that really matters is the goals, isn't it, really, at the end of the day, and that's a killer.
Absolutely. Well, 2021 is in the books now. It's consigned to history. I think that it's important at this point to look back and reflect with honesty at where we are. December, we stood there at the end of the game, and I've said this to you many times, we stood there at the end of the Uxbridge game after we got dumped out the trophy and looked at December as a crucial month, and I think even the most optimistic, and I know you quite well now, and quite an optimistic manager but at the same time realistic. I don't think anyone would have had us taking 10 points from 16. It just so happens to be that the 6 points dropped have been against the big boys down the road, and they're never easy when that happens. It hurts as managers, as players, as supporters of the football club when your big local derby is the game where you drop your 2 points in, you drop your 6 points in. But 10 from 16, we've ended the year because of results elsewhere. We've ended the year in the playoffs, and we've begun the year in the playoffs, and we're still there now in 7th. Obviously, a lot of games in hand and a lot of football to be played between now and the end of it. But it's a good position for us to be sat in right now. Yeah,
I think if you're a supporter and the board of directors and the players, the coaching staff, we're all pleased the way it's gone. We just need maybe to get a couple of loans in just to shore us up a bit, which will make a difference whether we get that in before the 8th, because then we've got 2 weeks off, so we don't want to get somebody in too early and then not play them for 2 weeks as well, so that might make a difference. And it's just keep doing what we're doing. We just need that little bit of quality at times, and the first 21 games of this season have been really good. We've got 19 games to go, I think it is now, and if we perform like we have, then we'll be okay, and it'll be an enjoyable season, and we don't want it to tail off. From my point of view, I've been really proud of the lads and what they've done, and even with the rejig, with the board saying that we had to get rid of a few players and this, that and the other, I thought we've done well to come back from that, and like you said, it's not all doom and gloom. We're in quite a positive frame of mind. It's just not great to lose to the neighbours, really.
Of course not, and it never does get easier. I mean, I've been following Chippenham myself for some 25 years, and normally tend to come away from this place unhappy. And I think you have to go back to 2017, the last time we got any sort of positive result here, and we haven't fared too much better at home, but it's what it is. And sometimes I think you got to just kind of tip your cap, don't you? Sometimes to the fact, all right, yes, they're local rivals, nonetheless, but they work with the good stuff down here. You look around yourself, 2,200 supporters in here today. I mean, they're averaging about 1,200. It's going to make a difference when it comes to attracting players and attracting the kind of the quality of players that are going to, give you what you need in big games like this. But let's leave them in our rear view now, because we don't got to see them now for at least another year. I don't think either of us are going to be flying out of the division at either end, so we'll probably get 2 more chances to put it right next year, Mike. But moving on to bigger and better things now. Certainly coming into January, it's now the time of year that, as I don't need to tell you, that we start to see these teams at home that we've played away. Our away form, much has been made of it. We've been very difficult to beat away from home, and very, very good on the road. Now we're going to be taking these sides such as Slough, Hampton, Concord. We're going to be taking the games that we've sort of had positive results in a way back at home. Our home form seems to have picked up a little bit, apart from the little stumbling block against this mob on Boxing Day. I think we're unbeaten at home now in three or four outside of the Bath game. It's going to be very interesting to take these boys back onto the home pitch with a bit of renewed faith that we can get the job done there, and hopefully see same positive results we've had against them in the start of the year.
Yeah, and if we can, speaking to Neil, the chairman, he's allowed us to go out and get a couple of loans in as well, which might be with a view to signing them permanently, and they have got a little bit more quality. They'll make us a little bit better when we've got the ball. I think we've been very good in transition and very good when we haven't got the ball, but when we've played up against teams where we've had a lot of the ball, we've found it a bit tough, so we're going to have to recruit some players to change that. I don't think there's much wrong with the system of play that we're doing, because we're creating enough chances, but maybe we're not holding on to the ball at crucial times. Even passing it around in the middle third at times, we haven't done that great at home. But it looks nice and positive. We're disappointed today, but we know we've come a long way, and we want everybody to join us in the journey. And there's going to be some ups and downs, like we said, and that's all part and parcel of being involved in this club. And if it was easy, we'd all be able to do it, wouldn't we? But we're going to still fight in, and we're looking forward to the game next week now.
Yeah, so we've got the game next week, obviously against Slough, and then a little bit of a breather. I think we're the team that are dipping out. Obviously, Tonbridge aren't able to field a side against us, so we've got a bit of a sit down before the next game. I believe is also at home on the 25th against St Albans, and then we've got home games all the way littered through February. So now's a real sort of big time for the supporters to get out and really show in their volume that that we're behind what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I think if we can pick up 2 or 3 of those wins a month, then we'll be in with a shout of getting into that top 10. I don't know whether we'll be with that 7 or not in that top 7, but let's dream it, let's hope it, let's go for it. Why not? We can we're going to have a real good go at it, but we just need to try and recruit a little bit more quality if we possibly can do, and I'm sure we'll be all right.
Yeah, let me say, dream about the 7th, about the playoffs. I think anyone would sort of suggest that if we were to be even between that 7th and 10th, we'd have a really, really good season. If we were to stay the course and obviously hit that playoffs and be at the end of the season dance, then we've probably more than exceeded expectations that we would have had at the start of the season. Now, it's no disrespect to yourself, the staff, or any of the players there. With this squad, with the size it is, and I wouldn't say the quality of it, because I think on their day we're good enough for anyone. But to match over the course of a season, the quote marathon, that we're in the National League South, over 40 games, to even really be in with the conversation at the halfway point. I know that there's a lot to be said about teams that have played a lot less games, and we're sat at the moment on 21 games, which is more than anyone else in the division. But we've got the points in the bag, and they've still got to chase the points table down. Otherwise, we stay there.
And I think you're right to say earlier with we've been to St Albans, got a draw at Dartford away, and narrowly lost against Maidstone, beat Havant at home. Some of those top 7 or 8 that's in there now, we've done really well against them. So we just need to be a little bit better against the so-called lesser opposition when we've got the ball, and be a bit cleverer with it, a bit better with it, and we'll be okay.
It does seem very strange, Mike. We talk about the mini league system of teams that we should be competing against, and then we'll sit there, you and I, before the games, you're coming through the gate, and we'll turn around and you give that awkward look as if to say that today's going to be a real slog, be surprised to get something out of the game, and then more often than not we're in the bar afterwards sort of saying, well, did we do well?
Yeah.
So I think if anything, we've proven more and more times throughout this season that we can really take these teams on, and if they're going to come down there with that big time pretense of being too good for little Chippenham, they can quite often get turned over. Yeah,
and I think that's one of the things that we've been quite pleased as a coaching staff, is that we've brought that respect in with clubs. So clubs are now, if you listen to their interviews after they're playing and they know they've got Chippenham next, we're not an easy team to play against, and we're a little bit inconsistent, which is doing my head in at the moment, but we're a good team on our day, and I'm sure we'll be okay.
Let's touch on those guys that at the moment currently MIA. Obviously we had a good 4 of them walk past the back of the goal today. I think Dan, obviously we know, is coming back in next week. Alex still struggling a bit with the hamstring. Danny still struggling with the shoulder. I think Wazza still struggling with the back and a hammy. So players to come back in. How far are these guys away from being in contention, Mike?
I think Griff will be in contention next week, so that's a positive. I think Harry Warwick could possibly be as well. He's just got this recurring back injury all the time, which is not great. We've got Danny Greenslade slipped over with his shoulder a week or so ago, so I think he's going to be at least another 2 or 3 weeks, because that's ligament damage. He hasn't dislocated or anything like that. And then you're looking at Alex, probably with Alex, who's been one of our best players when he's come in. So if we've missed anybody, we've really missed Alex Bray and the way he drives forward. And we're getting a run of 5 or 6 games, 10 games, whatever it is, out of Danny, and he showed everybody. But this is why we need these players on these sort of days, because they will make a difference to us, and they're a bit of quality, and if we can utilise them over the next 3 or 4 months, then let's dream about getting in that top 10, top 7.
Happy days. And we've got obviously a couple of lads at the moment that are on loan. I think they might be coming down towards their time with us now, coming to a close in terms of the time that we've got them. But two very important players over the last couple of months in Ricky Aguiar and Harry Parsons. Both doing very well here. Swindon themselves, I mean, we keep little tabs on how Swindon are getting on. I don't think that anytime soon that these guys are going to be really needed at the club. They're flying at the moment, Swindon. We turned over Northampton 5-2 yesterday, and McCurdy plays in Ricky's position, and I don't think he's going to be dropped after scoring 4 goals. So the likelihood of extending Ricky, Harry, have we spoken to Swindon? Are we looking at doing that? Yeah,
I spoke to Ben Chorley the other day, who's been fantastic with us as well, because we were trying to get another player in, which we couldn't quite get in because of their COVID. But it was a positive conversation, but not anything set in stone at the moment. So they've got to have a conversation with players with their club, and the club have got to see what they want out of it. But we definitely want them. We've loved them. They've been a breath of fresh air for us. They've been a little bit of quality, and they've enabled us to get into those high positions in that league at the moment. So we definitely want them to stay, and things are looking positive at the moment, and I'll be on the phone again tomorrow.
Good stuff. Well, Mike, for now, obviously it's a 2-0 defeat at Swerton Park. We'll go away and lick our wounds and hopefully come back stronger against Slough. Thanks for the update. Obviously, just from all of us here at Blue Army TV, and I'm sure yourself want to pass the best wishes on to the chairman, Mr. Neil. He's obviously not here today for personal reasons. He's sat at home, I think, in isolation at the moment after getting the ping. So, from all of us, we want to send best wishes to Neil. And Mike, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you very much for your efforts so far this year, and we're all behind you in the new year, mate.
Great.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Simon.
Top man.
Cheers, everybody.